From the boardroom to the community, from tech startups to mental health advocacy, Myra Maloba presents to you the Women Per Excellence podcast. Each week, join the queen of interviews as she takes you through visionary women who are breaking barriers and leading change. Together, let's amplify these remarkable voices, inspiring the world, one story at a time.
Hi, my name is Myra Maloba, and welcome back to Women for Excellence. We are into the second episode today, and of course, if you're just joining us for the first time, it's a podcast dedicated to amplifying the voices of exceptional women across diverse fields, including business, technology, mental wellness, community leadership, influence, and politics. Now, by sharing their stories, we inspire, educate, and empower our listeners, rather seek to inspire, educate, and empower our listeners while creating a platform that aligns with brands committed to supporting women's success and leadership. So today we have with us Eunice Ong'ele. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
You said this is your first time, so I'm glad that I'm breaking in your media legs.
Comfort zone.
Right. So welcome so much to the show. So just a little bit about Eunice. Of course, it's better in your own words, but I'll just give a little bit of a description of who you are. Now, Eunice is a commercial strategist with over 2 decades of experience driving strategic growth, fostering strong stakeholder relationships, and delivering impactful results across East Africa. Her career journey reflects a deep commitment to aligning global strategies with regional market dynamics to achieve tangible outcomes. Now, she holds an MBA in strategic management from the University of Nairobi, complemented by a postgraduate diploma in marketing accredited by the Chartered Institute of Marketing UK. Furthermore, she is a standing member in good standing of Marketing Society of Kenya and Women on Boards Kenya.
Yeah.
Great. Now, to simplify it, what exactly is your job, commercial strategist? What exactly is a commercial strategist?
So thank you for this. My job basically is to grow businesses, and I've also now added a different angle to it, also to grow individuals.
Right.
So when it comes to growing businesses, I'm very focused on looking at businesses from end to end. From the time we do prospection, onboarding customers, to the time we're selling to them after sales service.
Right.
So I've been privileged to work in different roles, and I've been able to do account management, sales, business development, marketing, and customer experience.
Right.
So when I look at a business, I look at it holistically from the time it begins until the time customer is happy and after sales service.
Amazing.
Yes. And when it comes to building others,
yes,
I'm very, very strong on mentorship.
Yes.
And I believe that people who know where they're going and have clarity of vision are able to deliver more effectively. Yes.
What does mentorship mean to you?
Mentorship for me is an opportunity for one to be able to see beyond themselves,
right,
to learn from people who've already walked the journey so that they don't make the same mistakes that people were making,
right,
to quickly hone their skills, especially if you want to go into the leadership roles.
Yeah.
So basically working with somebody who's already gone through all that, the challenges, and then now breezing through it.
Right.
So for me, I believe in mentoring young people to be able to quickly, don't second guess themselves.
Right.
Yeah. So that when they're now doing whatever they need to do, they already have clarity on exactly what they need to be doing. Yes.
Leadership means a lot of different things to a lot of different people. What does it mean to you?
Leadership for me is influence.
Yeah.
How are you able to influence people?
Right.
And leadership cut across all society. It can be at home, it can be at work, it can be church. How are you able to effectively influence people to see your vision and guide them through that. And, being believable. So basically walking the journey with the people. I believe as a leader, we need to be able to communicate clearly what needs to be done,
right,
and show by a way of example. So it's selfish, basically. It's selfish and really getting people to follow you, basically.
right,
Yes.
right. This month has been highly stressed on wellness.
Yes.
How do you, because of course with your job, the way you've described it, it's high stakes a lot of the time.
Yes.
How do you maintain wellness in those situations?
Wellness comes in different facets. So there is emotional intelligence and just maybe mental clarity. So for EQ, it's basically to understand, manage your emotions as well as other people's emotions. Right. Once you're very clear on that, then it's very easy for you to be very empathetic, understand where other people come from, and then just settle before you make very big decisions. So when you marry that with clarity, mental clarity, it means that you're very thoughtful before you make decisions.
Right.
I'll give an example. Sometimes in leadership, you could be dealing with different people, and sometimes you could also deal with very difficult customers.
Right.
So when you get to deal with a difficult situation, how do you handle that? Because I've been in customer experience, and that's where you get all sorts of, cases coming from customers, or even just disgruntled individual within the organization. So for me, what I realized, or quickly how to maintain that, is to really sit before you make any decision. Analyze the situation first. Have all the information before you make a decision. And sometimes also it means saying, let me come back to you.
Right.
So that you can have very clarity on exactly how you're going to handle the situation. So not being impulsive, but really thinking through.
Right.
When it comes to managing teams, it's the same thing. Sometimes you can get a situation whereby you have no idea what to do. And secondly is seeking help. If you don't know, we can't know everything.
Right.
So when you are in a situation where you don't know, be very clear. I don't know. Let me go get some more information around that, and then I can come back to you. So you can,
Right.
Uza, keep quiet and say, I'll come back to you. Prioritize yourself. I think self-help is very, very important.
Right.
What do I mean by that? It means that beyond work, what else do you do? For me, I do a lot of exercise. It gives me clarity. It makes my body relaxes. I look actually forward to doing that. From there, I'm able to just relax, because after you've done your exercise, there's a period where you just need to just sit down.
Right.
At that particular time, just be quiet in yourself. That way, again, you're able to gain back your clarity and be in control. Eat well. Look at what you're eating and sleep. I believe in having a good quality sleep.
Right.
And sometimes I normally tell my friends, when I want to sleep and have a deep one, I put, how do you call them? The cotton buds in the ears and really switch off completely.
Oh, do you?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
And that, sometimes even my children know that today mom is going to sleep, and
Right.
in case there's anything, they really have to knock the door very hard for me to be able to hear them.
Okay.
Clearly, I have bigger children, so I don't need to really look at day-to-day running of what they're doing. So many times I'm able to actually switch off completely and sleep. Yeah, so sleep for me is big. Yeah.
I love that. Especially now, especially when you mentioned dealing with different emotions, even in the workplace. Like for me, I'm also trying to navigate around, no offense, Gen Zs. Yeah. They're not like us. When we I think we're all millennials at this point. They are we were more controlled in our emotion because we were made to be that, how we grew up. We were made to be more emotionally restricted to ourselves.
Yes.
But I love what you pointed out, because at least for a lot of people, it's not a dig at them, because for Gen Zs, they think a different way. they have a different way of moving, which is so dynamic. But at the same time, we have to know how to manage. We're still learning how to manage, especially the emotional aspect.
Yes.
What, in your opinion, is the role of emotional resilience and mental clarity in decision making?
Being in control, I think, of emotions is very important.
Yeah.
And you've mentioned Gen Zs. I have some in my house, so I have an opportunity sometimes to just observe them in their natural environment.
Yeah.
And for sure, they're built differently.
Yeah.
And I know sometimes we're also being blamed. You're the ones who are bringing them up. We've made them very, very independent.
Right.
And sometimes I also learn from them. For me, reverse mentorship is also very big because I mentioned earlier, we don't know everything. And there are many nuances that these Gen Zs are coming with that as an older generation, we can borrow from them. So as I observe them, I also sometimes check myself when it comes to being resilient and knowing what I am. And I've learned that the way our mothers did things and the way we did things growing up has changed completely.
Yeah.
We are dealing with a generation that is more aware of stuff, and information is very available for them. So using their strength, and that's what I do in my house, use their strength to build me, and also use that to teach them. So I would come from a situation whereby I would say, I like the way you're doing this. I would have not done it that way. And it's working well.
Right.
However, now listen to me on this other side, because this one I know. I've dealt with it before, and this is how I did it. And it worked well also. So marry those two. And hopefully, if we are able to have that kind of a conversation with the younger generation, we will build a more resilient workforce also. Workforce, I use that at the work environment, but even at home.
Yes.
So marry what they're coming with because they want to be heard. That's what I've realized. Even my daughter the other day was telling me that, Mom, sometimes you don't hear me. So hear me is maybe should come when she's very excited about something. And then I'm busy looking at other things. So I dismiss without knowing that I'm dismissing.
Right.
So what I love about them is they give you feedback. And if you don't listen to that feedback, then you'll be stuck on, but I told you and you never listened.
Right.
So I asked her, so give me cues next time. And you see that you're excited and I didn't see that excitement. Perhaps your other sister also came with something else and my concentration went this other side. Bring me back. That is really, really matters to you. So even that in the work environment, I'll also encourage that. Have a very open space where people are able to be naturally themselves.
Right.
To bring out whatever they want to bring out at that particular time. Not work involved, or it could be anything. It could be personal. It could be whatever. Let there be a culture where people are allowed to just talk.
100%. I think even I used that same example with somebody else. I was like, okay, if you are working with somebody and you want to get the best possible outcome, also find out what they do on the side. Find out what drives them away from the work environment, and then use that to leverage on and bring that energy into the workplace as well.
Correct. 100%. At work, we have this thing called Jofix. Jofix is a half an hour one-on-one with individuals. It could be your boss, it could be the people who work under you, it could be another department. And what we do is we fix it in our calendar as it is scheduled completely that on this day, I'm going to be meeting XYZ. So there's an agenda that is open agenda. That's what you put it. Agenda open. What are we going to discuss? Not work, just us. It could be feedback that you want to give me. It could be feedback that I want to give you. And we make it outside the work environment.
Right.
So where I used to work, we had a cafe downstairs. So we'd go there for half an hour and just say, so what are we talking about today? Anything. That way, remove the fluff. So when now we go back now to the office, I already understand you, already empathize if there's anything that was going on. You also empathize with me if there's anything that was going on with me. Then we remove that out of, so the emotions are taken care of. So when we now need to work, then we know where we're coming from. So I can also give you room if I see that perhaps you still need a bit of a room to adjust, and then also do the same thing for me. Right. So it encourages a lot of empathy in the work environment. Right. Yeah, that I would encourage any leader who wants to really build a strong team to have a time off.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think that's amazing. First of all, we've always used team building, but team building is also it's a lot of work where we're trying to understand each other, but at the same time we're engrossed in what it is we're doing. So I like that geofixing.
Geofix. Geofix.
Okay.
Yeah.
Get the words
you can give it any name. It can be time off, whatever you guys can agree on. Yeah. But the agenda is let's meet for half an hour and talk about nothing or something, whatever. There's no agenda.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Now, in the aspect of strategic growth, while giving it a human touch, how do you balance data versus empathy? Like data-driven strategy versus empathy-led leadership.
Okay. For a proper decision to be made within an organization, you need data. Data, we still say data is king. Data gives you information that is tangible. You can be able to project with data. Now, empathy now would be the subjective side of it,
right? Because
data is yes or no, it's there. You cannot tamper with it. For instance, if you're having sales report, for instance, that's data,
right?
So either you've done the sale or you've not. So it's there's no gray line. But when it comes to empathy, now that's where there's a gray line, and it's an opportunity for one to be able to be empathetic. And empathy for me is understanding where the other person is coming from. Because if it makes you to be a bit objective when you're also talking to them and understanding why the numbers are or how the data is. And data can sometimes be, the numbers could also be good.
Right.
But it could be good, but you're suffering. Are you okay? So for me, marrying what we are seeing on paper and marrying what is presented in front of us is very, very important to be able to have a mental health. I know we use that word very loosely, but for sure, you could have achieved what we needed you to achieve on paper, but how did you go along getting there? Or maybe you're not achieving it. What is making you not get there? So having the one-on-one again, for me, also helps in the empathy side, so that you understand where are we, where are the numbers looking the way they're looking, and how can we help each other?
Right.
So from there now you can also make very good informed decisions on the way forward, because you're coming out objectively. You've thoughtfully looked through the situation, and your decision that I'm making at that particular time is well lubricated, for lack of a better word. Right. You have all the information that is needed.
Yes.
So for any leader who now makes decision with data and empathy, I believe that you put your organization at a better place, because it's not, you remove a toxic kind of work of environment, because sometimes you'll find some people are focusing on the numbers, and not focusing on the empathy side.
Right.
And that's why you see people saying, the organization has a very toxic culture.
Right.
So empathy really removes that toxicity. That word that is very hard to pronounce now.
Toxicity.
Yes.
Yes. It does play a big part in fact, effectively getting the best performance out of somebody. You have to employ empathy. I think, again, we grew up in a very different generation where it was results, without looking at the human aspect. So how do you integrate, how are we able to integrate wellness values into strategic planning?
Okay. So that's a good one, actually, because here we are talking about a roadmap. A plan is like a roadmap. We are starting from here and where we're going. So a plan, you start from the situation where you go to the objective, where do you want to go? You go to the strategy. How do we want to get where you want to go. And then you look at the tasks. So what are these tasks that needs to be put in place? Actions, you put them, scheduling them, and corrective action. So basically measuring where we are going.
Right.
So when you marry strategy and wellness, remind me what was the other part? The strategy
it was wellness and wellness values
and strategy
into strategic planning.
Okay. So once you've already known where you want to go and how you're going to get there, you'll need people to come in and deliver on that. So when it comes to wellness is, again, walking the talk. For me, one is self-awareness. Working on yourself and how would I put it? Prioritizing one. And priority, it means that so that you avoid burnout, because sometimes strategy going, you might at one point hit a wall. So you prioritize yourself, and prioritizing yourself can take many things. Set boundaries. Remember now when you're having a strategy, there'll be schedules of how you're going to be doing whatever you want to do. So by scheduling that, already you're setting the boundaries. We need to have delivered this by this. We needed to have this report by this. So it gives you leeway to be able to work around that period that you've set. Setting boundaries prioritizing self also means that taking time out, having a regular break. And regular break could be even going to take tea, get out of your desk and do what needs to be done. Take a walk. Right. So again, that you're prioritizing yourself so that when you come back, you focus again on what needs to be done.
Right.
I talked about exercise. Exercise really, really is important for us from head to toe. So do whatever makes you happy. It could be a walk. It could be going to the gym. It could be doing some exercises in the house, whatever works for you. But a walk for that person who is not very good in exercises really, really helps. Just say today, I'm walking from here to there.
Right.
There's a time I set myself to be walking from the office to our house. It's a long distance. So how it started like a joke. I did not have my car that day and had seen a customer and I decided, okay, so I need to take a matatu back home. And while we were taking the matatus, it was 5 o'clock, it was congested, there were so many people, there was a jam already in that particular place. So I decided I'm going to walk until the next terminus, next place where I could get the matatu. And that day I did not have my heels. I'd gone to the field, so I had very okay shoes for walking. And I walked to the next terminus. I said, but that was not so bad.
Right.
I can get to the next one, and if I get tired, I will take an Uber or take whatever. So I walked to the next junction, and I was like, no, my house is not too far. So I decided just to walk, had no music on. I was just admiring the environment. So for me, again, for one person who doesn't like exercises, you can just start that I want to go there without listening to anything. Let's just appreciate what the world has.
Right.
But I was looking at flowers, looking at trees. It was crazy. And at one point, I stopped at a place where they were roasting maize, something that I would not do. I decided I'm going to get that as I'm resting.
Right.
And when I got home, my children were also excited. You brought in roasted maize. I thought, so that walk was actually really, really good. And I've been doing that occasionally. So for me, that works. I talked about setting boundaries, and boundaries also says I'm working from this hour to this hour. After these hours, can I have my me time? And it's okay to say I need my me time.
Right.
Yeah. So when you do that, prioritize yourself and also love yourself. Sometimes say thank you. Well, because sometimes we forget that we've done what needs to be done and we are so hard on ourselves.
Yeah.
So being empathetic to yourself also help when you're doing your strategy and maintaining your well-being.
Right.
Yes.
All the important points, by the way. Even me, when I'm taking a break from my shows, I usually go to the supermarket, I people watch, and then come back. I'm not doing anything in particular.
Can you believe that?
But that is enough to at least just get me into a better place so I can come back and settle down and work. It really does help.
Yes.
Even that walk. I love my music, but sometimes, when I'm limited, sometimes you just create stories in your head while walking around.
In your head.
Yes.
Because for me, I was thinking, what if somebody grabs my phone? Those things. I put them all in my backpack and just worked.
Yes, and it works. It really
I was
works.
so relaxed. But by the time I got back home,
Yeah.
stretch once you get back home, because if you're not a walker, you are going to pain.
I've never even thought of that. Yes.
No, stretch. You know those stretches that we used to be told in primary?
Yes.
Touch your toes, lift your hands up, all those things.
Right.
Because the muscle at that particular time needs to now go back to default
Right.
setting. So just stretch that a little bit and you'll be okay.
Right. How in what you do you empower women to be leaders? Or do you take part in that as well?
Oh, I am so big in that you have no idea. I love lifting women up. And as I do that, I've been doing that for some time now, and I'm now becoming more conscious about having a more balanced way of looking at things, because I also have a son. And I realized that when I was focusing so much on women, then am I also preparing my son to be with these women? Right. So, well, in my formative years of working, I did not have any form of mentorship. I think then it was not a common thing to be having mentors, and we were just doing things the way we thought we'd do it. So some things we didn't do so well. And as I matured, I realized that the people were coming behind me also doing the same mistakes that I was doing. And that ignited something in me, that I needed to hold people's hands as I was also going. Right. And show them, and that is now the mentorship bit. And when you're seeing somebody's going into a hole, not letting them go to the hole and say, even me, I'll pass through that, let them also go through the same journey. I am aware of that hole, and I try to steer people out of that. So I do a lot of talks, and my colleagues normally, when they find me in the breakout room, they know that it's a time now to be able to just come and share, and they would ask me a lot of questions here. How did you used to do this? So how did that? And my passion for mentorship has been growing and growing and growing. And as I mentioned earlier, I think before we started, I'm working for an organization called Commercial Club of Africa. And our focus is on the salespeople. And we have come up with many programs that are geared towards training emerging leaders to be the best leaders as you go. So growing a pipeline for salespeople. Right. One of the pillars is mentorship. Okay. And I'm glad to say that has already been launched. And we're looking for salespeople to come and be mentored. This group of people, we have top leaders in that industry, in that line. So you can imagine getting someone who has already gone through all that, that are holding you and telling you, this is how I did it. This is how you can be able to get to where I am by sharing their journeys. That way you are able to, again, not look at people falling in the pit and not telling them, of course, I went through the same thing. You also need to do the same thing. But really getting them there faster.
Right.
So that is my philosophy. Yeah, when it comes to women, but now, like I said, it has now morphed to both genders, because both needs to be helped. That
is very, very important. Especially me, I'm a mother of boys, and I always think, yes, we are looking at the girls and how to raise them up to be this and that and the other. But how do we also raise the boys to be in the same environment?
Exactly.
It's a very important point.
Exactly.
There's this stereotype that we women are enemies of each other.
Yes.
We are. We do not set out to support each other. Although, as we speak, I speak to more and more women that it's not always the case. And I've been in places where the mentorship happens.
Yes.
And safe spaces are being created. How then, with mentorship, do you create support systems and create avenues or spaces for women, even after the mentorship, to continue uplifting the next and the next?
Okay. A very, very interesting question, especially the bit of we don't, it's a stereotype, as you put it.
Yes.
And we need to continuously.
We are our own worst enemies.
Exactly.
That's the word.
We need to demystify that theory. It is not there. And I think maybe, I don't know who coined it.
I think the patriarchy.
Really, so when they see women in a room, what they think is these people are... I really sometimes don't like going there because it is a very murky place.
Yes.
I would rather focus on what do we do when we sit together. And women, we've been given this ability to share. And I think the oversharing bit is where sometimes people are not too sure whether it's a good thing or not. For me, I think it's the best thing that ever happened to us women. The fact that we can easily sit down and say, this is what I'm going through.
Yeah.
And if you've gotten a good pair of ears who are going to guide you properly, then in most cases, you find that you are able to have clarity on how to handle the situations. And sometimes also you find that you're not the only one who's going through that. So how do you navigate that? So, I'm a member of Women on Boards. And there we have women from all ages. We are also encouraging young junior members to join in. And there is a platform where women really, really pull each other up.
Right.
Because, like I said, different generations. So they've seen, the older generations, they've seen a lot of transition from the younger ones to us to them. So a lot of changes that have happened. So they're able to objectively tell you this is how we were then. This is how we are saying things. This is what it was in between here. And this is what has helped me be where I am at this particular time. And we are also sometimes also retiring. So how do you ensure that the people who are coming after us are able to really still navigate this very interesting environment that you had?
Right.
So for me, holding people's hands is... It's a very important aspect. We were also mentored when it comes to women on boards. In my cohort, we did ours, could have been 4 years ago.
Right.
We are 4 of us being mentored by one person, and the course was supposed to take only 6 months. And then after 6 months, you do whatever you want to do with it. For us as a group, we call ourselves Almasi. We decided that you're going to still stick together. So we are still mentoring each other. So there is the peer-to-peer mentorship. We also have our original mentors. You did not leave the group. So what we are doing now is we normally have a demonstration when we are mentoring other women, but exactly what you want to achieve. And it's a very pictorial kind of a thing. So our mentor will hold our hands, and then our hands will hold the next, and we really follow a line.
Amazing.
So what we are saying is we are making a chain or a line that when I leave, the next person can be able to just take it up without suffering.
Yeah.
Because they've already seen what I've been doing. I've been doing it with them. So when I retire, the line still continues. And the last person will also grab another person's hand. And there will be no, you'll never know that there's a vacuum, basically.
Right.
It's like a succession plan, kind of.
Right.
So there's no vacuum whatsoever. And everyone feels like they're doing something. Because if you're the last one and there's somebody else you're calling, come, you already feel that I'm already in the leadership journey. So we are trying to build a very strong set of women. And like I said again, as we do that, we also focus on the male child. As we do that, we ensure that we are also looking at them and look at the nuances that are coming and how can we be able to now work as both genders.
Right.
So women on boards, yes, we are women, but we also have main champions who come in, and periodically we do a lot of exchanges.
Right.
And they pick learnings that they get from the male side, because they also have their own places where they meet and they see what is happening, and they come and give us that feedback. And when we get the feedback, now how do we use this feedback to go back home? Because we live with them in our houses.
Right.
How do you ensure that you balance your leadership and your motherhood and your wifelyhood in such a way that your sons are seeing how you're behaving in your house? How do you remove your hat from the gate? My mom normally says, leave that hat at the gate. When you get in here, now you're a wife and a mother. So how do you now switch?
Right.
Of course, still managing the house and also managing together with your spouse, and still making him the head of the house. because your children are observing this. My girls are observing how a woman should be able to behave in a house. My son is also looking at both of us. So basically, fine, I am doing what we are learning as women, but how do I marry that with what is expected from me when I get back home?
Right.
Yeah.
It's still something that we are learning daily, because it's the dynamics have changed. Whereas, the mothers, the wives were the carers of the home, and that was their only duty.
Yeah.
Nowadays we have to, lead at the office.
Yes.
While trying to, change into getting away from that role in the home. It's still, and I think that it needs even just a whole podcast in itself.
Oh, yes.
Just to try and understand that.
Yes.
But being in the boardroom, how do you try to navigate and still remain a stronghold, especially in male-dominated spaces, without losing yourself?
Oh, that's a good one. So one thing that I tell the girls, women have a superpower that the other gender don't have. The first superpower is our sixth sense. That's the way God just gave us that.
Right.
And the more you utilize it and listen to it, the more you realize that really you are okay as you're already full. So you do not need to change the way you are because you're sitting in a place where you are the minority. You are as competent as the next person. You also technical, because for you to sit in a board or a boardroom or even a leadership position, it means that technically you are ready. You know what needs to be done. So by knowing yourself, you do not need to change your way of looking at things. Still bring your feminine energy there. And sometimes that energy that you bring in is what balances the boardroom completely. Because men have that adrenaline sometimes running. And then when they have that calming energy in the boardroom, they automatically calm down. And it means that how do you now then use it when you're there? You do not need to flaunt anything. Just by you being your feminine self is enough for them to realize, okay, gentlemen, let's behave. There's a lady in the house.
Right.
And again, when you need to bring in your ideas, be very informed. We are very informed already, but have your facts right. Because that's again a place where they can now use, but you don't know. So be in the knowing. So if you need to read your reports before you get there, have the knowledge with you so that when you're talking from a point of no, and nobody's going to really question that.
Right.
And then the third bit is use your feminine voice. When the room is very charged, quiet it down by bringing your feminine quiet. So you don't also now raise your voice to get into the energy.
Right.
Use your lower voice. And believe you me, people behave. There's one, actually we normally have ambassadors, male ambassadors when it comes to women on boards.
Right.
And when they give us the talks, those are the things they tell us. You guys have a power in the boardroom that you have no idea. Men want to please you. Not in a bad way, but they want to be protective almost around you. So when you bring that energy in that is coming, then somehow things just fall in place. So don't go there second guessing yourself, because you will stink. People will see you don't know. And then they'll put you on the corner there. You're the one who will be told, go bring the tea, go bring the what. Yes. So, but again, so when they tell you to bring the tea, one time we had a conversation around that. So if now you're being told, okay, you're the woman in the house, go bring tea for us. How do you handle that? One lady once told us that we will walk together. Let's have a cup of tea. Let's take this break. Let's go have a cup of tea. And then when you're there, then one day you can pour for that person, the next time, but as you're doing your conversation. So it removes the action, the focus goes back to the conversation. So in as much as I'm pouring the tea, I'm not serving you, but I'm serving you as a human being.
Right.
Because we are standing together. And next time it could be you pouring the tea.
Right.
So you remove that. Sometimes also you'll be told you're the lady now, pray. Prayer is very, very important. But you can say, this time you're praying, next time Nani Nani can suggest a name, because if you keep quiet and cow down, then your ideas will be left for you to, nobody will be listening to.
Right.
Yeah.
Especially when you go out to get that tea, you can miss something very important that's being said.
Yeah.
And yes, there's the ways to navigate. Even if you need to get a help at that particular time,
course.
there are actually ways to navigate it, because we do find ourselves in that trap a lot of the times.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, you're dealing with your peer and not just a man-woman kind of role.
Yes.
Love it. We have come to the end of part 1. Come back for part 2, where we'll continue talking to Eunice about how to lead both in the boardroom and at home.